Yo, dog, Kenny Boucher here. Next Level Painting, hitting you up on the literal best of all days, coming to you from the Beats Lab in Hollywood, California. We're doing it again with dark art minis. These guys had a sick Kickstarter that sent me a couple bases, and of course, there's one piece of dungeon terrain that I needed to get my hands on. This demon rising up out of this pool of, unknown liquid. It is an amazing piece. So we're gonna jump right into it with secret weapon miniatures, rubber, and rubber highlight, two amazing colors. And I've got a new product for you guys. It's not on shelves yet, but I am demoing it for Army Painter. This is their Airbrush Flow Improver, their medium. It's pretty solid, guys. Indistinguishable from things like Flow Improver from Vallejo. I've been having a blast with it. And if I know Army Painter, it's gonna be really affordable. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna paint up this dude real quick with rubber. Now this is kind of a ghetto pre-highlight. I want this rubber and this rubber highlight to highlight the kind of the rim, like it's gonna be stone, but like they're gray enough that I can just do a kind of a ghetto pre-highlight on the demon in the pool as well. This just kind of shows you the flexibility of the airbrush and how many different ways you can approach a project. We're just painting it up, hitting it with the dark gray, hitting it with the bright gray, and just add a little bit of white to it, no big deal. Pop out those edges, make some fun transitions, bring some zenithal highlighting into the top of the demon with the lighter gray with just a little bit of white mixed in. Just spray some in the pool. Super simple, basic pre-highlight. I'm gonna do one last pass with almost pure white. Simple AF. 1,000 different ways to paint models. I chose this route because this would be the color of the frame, but it would also serve the skin on the demon, and then I would just have to hand paint the acid or whatever it is. So we got Purple Heat, another secret weapon miniatures classic. We're gonna thin it down really, really, really thin. And we are gonna just do a quick glaze over the demon. Some of it's gonna get in the pool, no big deal. We're just trying to make sure it's on the demon, making sure our flow is right, making sure it's nice and thin. We want the grayscale of what we did with the rubber and the rubber highlight to poke through to kind of give it some shade. It's a simple technique. It's as old as time itself. You see we got a nice little skin effect here. You can see the shadows, you can see the highlights. It's really soft. That's fine. We are going to incorporate washes at some point. So we got this Principality Jade and this navy blue. So we're going to just swirl them together, kind of create this interesting green. And we're just going to rapid fire. I've got a really big brush. I'm just kind of quickly scrubbing it in and then reaching for my number 2 to just cut the details in. We're going on pretty thick. It's kind of a one and done kind of coat. So we're staying active. If you're worried about your speed here, you could use a little flow improver in the mix to slow the drying time down a little bit, or how about just flow better without breaking the bonds of the pigment and the medium. Simple. You could add black, dark blue, whatever you want. I just basically wanted the green to be a little darker before I went to the pure Principality Jade. And that's why I said it didn't really matter, because I knew I had to paint the acid pool by hand. I chose that to be what we painted by hand because we are going to be using some technical effects. So you'll see. There it is. That's the first coat. Let it totally dry. Already coming together. It looks really cool. All right. Pull out the airbrush again. Load up the jade. And just quickly highlight center mass. It can be quick. It can be sloppy. A little bit can get on the demon. It doesn't matter. All right. First off, don't overthink your terrain pieces. Do your best. Make them look beautiful, but they can have flaws. It's fine. You never want your terrain to overshadow the models, but that doesn't excuse you from not doing it. Make sure you paint your models and your terrain and put love into them both. So real quick, looking good. We're just gonna grab random brown. This is just a standard umber leather color. Any line of paint has one. We're just gonna quickly bang out some of these deets. Hit the horns, hit the teeth, the spikes in his head. No big deal. Simple stuff, guys. One and done. We're gonna mix in a little bit of bronze. I think I'm using pro acrylic here, but it's like a little, or light brass. I don't fucking know, man. Like metal on the rings. It doesn't matter. I just had some of the wet palette from last week. I'm gonna grab a little ochre in ivory and just slash the eyes in. Too easy. I'm using my tiny little synthetic brush that sucks at everything except this task. Boom. Too easy. Okay, now we mixed in a little bit of an ochre and an ivory into the same brown. Basically what that equates to is we yellowed it up a little bit and brightened it up a little bit. And that's going to be the second pass. We might leave some of the dark brown behind. If we go on thin enough here, we're going to start to hint at striations in the horns, using a little bit more ivory here. Rapid fire. We're not overthinking it, letting it be a little brighter up top. Just rapid fire, using our number 2 Red Grass Games brush. Too easy. There it is. Solid base coats. This is NLP 101. Get your black belt today. We're going to be going with Spray Gunner, who supplies me with these Mr. Hobby Advanced Technology oil washes. So now that we've done our airbrushing, got our clean transitions, and locked in our details, we're going to do a nice controlled wash. We're going to be just dumping this oil wash on it and then reaching in for the solvent a lot. So what you're going to see me doing is reaching in for oil, then reaching in for solvent, back and forth, back and forth. And then most of it, once I get the oil down, is just reaching for solvent and spreading out the oil that I already have in the model, scrubbing it away from the top of his head, try to smooth out some of his features. Don't let it pool where it, it would distort the details. And for the water, we're going to be just really leaning on solvent and just spreading out what we have to give us some definition in the toxic pool. It's kind of a catch-all wash. The oil wash, the multi-black from Mr. Hobby, is one of the best. Just a full-blown wash. Next level painting 101. Airbrush details wash. Done. Put it on the table. But this is going to be a cool little terrain piece, so we're definitely going to do a few more steps after this oil wash dries. I'm going to put it down in front of the fan. I think it took about 15 minutes to fully be dry, and then I hit it with a quick varnish, let that sit for about 15 minutes so that I can really paint over it. So while it's drying, guys, check it out. Limited time offer, November only. Yellow Imperial Fist parody shirt. All day, every day. Check it out, hereticswag.com. So here it is after everything dried, and now we're going to make the magic happen. Some of the paint chipped off on the sides. I don't care because I'm going to use this awesome dry brush, this Artist Opus dry brush. And we are going to just just go nuts. Back and forth trying to create the stone highlights using our rubber highlight with a little white like we did before, and just scrub it in. Get that beautiful dry brush game on lock. Around the edges, I'll do this too, and it'll basically cover up any of the chipping. There it is. You can see it looks really good. So now we're going to use some of the purple heat mixed in with a little bit of random pink that was on my wet palette, and we're going to just glaze in some highlights. That's just really thin paint, guys. Super thin paint. Remove the excess moisture from your brush, so you're just operating with super thin paint, but not like a wash, right? You basically bring it down to a wash consistency, but then you just get rid of some of the moisture. So what we're going to do is just build up some of the highlights on the raised areas to bring interest back into his skin and send our oil wash to the background. The wash made the dark stuff darker, and this glaze technique is going to make the bright stuff brighter. So we're going to hit the rims around his horns, kind of the center of his head. We're just going to kind of sketch some lines in. We are not even overthinking it. We're just having fun, guys. Glaze technique is your friend. Every miniature painter should learn this technique. I've got videos on it, of course. But it's pretty simple. Just be brave in the Beats Lab. So we're going to introduce a little bit more pink to the mix, and we're going to do what we just did again, but less, smaller. We're not going to repaint it. We're not going to invalidate the highlight. We're going to add to the highlight and just pop out some of those ripples. I call that ripple highlighting, where we're just kind of faking it. We're going to just reinforce stuff here. See, real light brush pressure, bring that tight glaze into the top of his head. Reinforce some of the neck and back muscles and striations that we were working into it. Some of the shoulder muscles. Just some fun shit, reinforce the head again. And we're working so thin, it really just helps blend into everything we've already done. It looks real soft, real natural. It's not a wet blend. We're just moving. And I try to use pure water for my thinning here because I want it to dry relatively fast. I don't want there to be anything that, slows the dry time down when I'm glazing, because I want to go quick. But until you get fast, you might consider dry retardants. So that's pretty cool. Skin's looking righteous. My man is a demon. Love it. We're going to grab our ivory again, and we're just going to quickly under highlight some of these runes in his horns to help reinforce the three-dimensionality, because the light would gleam off the bottom ridge, not the top ridge. And well, of course, we'll reinforce some of the striations. Real subtle, light brush pressure, just a couple of quick lines. Make it look interesting with just a little ivory. Pow. Ivory could just be any off-white, could be a bone, whatever you want. All right, Secret Web Miniatures, realistic water. I knew I was going to do this the entire project. So now we're going to just dump a bunch in here. Okay. Sometimes there's going to be bubbles. I'll show you how to knock the bubbles out later. And we're just going to move it back and forth. Let gravity do it. Let it self-level. Let it get into every little crevice. And sometimes it needs a little help. Throw a little bit more in there to help complete the circuit. But I also like to use paper clips to help with this process. And also, it helps pop some of the bigger bubbles. You see, like, so we're going to just crush some of the bigger bubbles, move it around, get a nice even disbursement. And we're going to let this dry. We're even going to dip into it and just kind of start painting some of the water effect onto his skin, like his shoulders, his back. You know, just real light brush pressure. You know, take a little bit of the water effect and make it go really far, so it just gives it a nice shine, like he's moist down there. It's phrasing. That's simple. Now, this does take like overnight to dry, and you might want to do 2 or 3 coats. I didn't have enough time to do that to cut this video, so we just did the one. It's not even going to fully dry, but I would probably go to bed, sleep on it, wake up, pour more water effect in there to kind of fill the whole rim up, make it look like it has depth to it. But after about 20 minutes of drying, this is where we're at. Important to let it fully dry before you do the next coat. Shout out to Dark Art Miniatures, Secret Web Miniatures, Spray Gunner, the Army Painter. Yo, play on, players. If you like these tutorials, check out Next Level Painting on Patreon. Become a patron of the arts today. We offer early and exclusive access to our videos and a rewards program for different pledge levels. Patreon is PayPal and credit card secure, so you don't have to worry about that. We use 100% of the money to improve our process.